Hey guys and gals, welcome back to my show, Coffee with Lisa. So excited to have you here. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Coffee with Lisa show. Today I have two very special guests. They're a husband and wife dynamo team. I'm going to introduce you to Kurek. And Kurek is a success coach and a world-class speaker. He's also the author of this book, which I've read. Make your next conference or the very best one you have ever had. Kurek is a professional speaker as well. Kurek is considered to be one of the most in-demand first-class speakers and sought-after success coaches in the world. And he has a very interesting story to tell us today. And so, Kurek, can you please tell us, in this book, you talked about a story, and some people would say that that story is bogus. Explain your story to us.
Well, it's I used to be an actor in Hollywood. I did 38 movies. I've done 2 films with John Travolta. I've worked with Sylvester Stallone, Chuck Norris, Russell Crowe, Charlie Sheen. Not that we brag too much about that one anymore, but in 1989, I was doing a picture called Lock Up with Sylvester Stallone, which, working with Sly, it was a real honor. Then I'm off to the Philippines to go work with Chuck Norris in a picture called Delta Force 2. Yep. And not only have I worked on 38 pictures in front of the camera, but I've also done over 500 movies behind the camera, working as a key and dolly grip, stunts, special effects, all kinds of things. And so crew members are like I have a lot of them are my best friends. My brother's key is a grip. And so Mike Graham, the key grip, is on Delta Force 2, and so is Don Marshall, the lighting director, and Jeff Brewer, one of the stunt guys. And so, I'm working with Chuck Norris, just finished working with Stallone. A lot of my best friends are on the show. And, being 27 years old, where they dress you up like a commando, they hand you a real live machine gun, and all day long you get to shoot people, throw hand grenades, kill people, wipe them off, have lunch with them, and then get to kill them again after lunch. And they pay you for that, was, it's kind of like living a fantasy. And during the course of the filming, it was a Friday, last sequence of the day. I'd already been doing some hairy stunts in the helicopter. I was involved in a helicopter crash where 5 of my friends died, and my best friend Mike died in my arms. He was 29 years old. It was just one of those bad days at work. I went into a very deep depression and funk after that, drugs, cocaine, cigarettes, alcohol abuse. I wasn't partying. I was just trying to kill myself. Matter of fact, I had a .357 Smith & Wesson pistol in my mouth every night. So anyways, for the next 2.5 years, I kept getting visits by my friend Mike, and it turns out that he had kind of locked himself onto me when he died in my arms, and but I wasn't the only person seeing him. So at first, yes, I would say that I felt like I was going crazy because, you're starting to see stuff, and you wonder, those people you see walking down the street who are talking to nobody but seem, convicted that somebody really is there. Am I turning into that guy? But after a while, the images that I'm dealing with and the person I'm talking to is so real that you just have to go with it. And so for the next 2.5 years, I had to work with Mike and help him spend some time with his fiance that he didn't get to say goodbye to, which I accomplished. And she called me up first thing in the morning and said, Mike just spent the night with me and talked to me all night, and we hugged and said goodbye, and he said that you sent him. And then I had to do an out-of-body experience and escort him into the light. And touching the light was given a message, to bring back, to live my life through, which is that everything's borrowed. You have to give it all back. And the only thing you get to keep is the love you gave, the love you received, and the experiences your soul gets to have.
Phenomenal story. Well, I read the story, and you talk in great detail in your book about the story. And I cried and several times throughout this whole book. It was an amazing book. It was a riveting book. I believe that this book came into my life, and you guys came into my life for a reason, and we're on the Coffee with Lisa show today to talk about that. So, you turned a very negative and an extremely powerful situation into a positive experience moving forward. And how did you do that? What was the process?
Well, the formula for creation is thoughts that get turned into actions produce the results. So one morning I woke up and I had a new thought. And the new thought was that your life's not your own, that there's people who love you and care about you. And instead of them helping you up, you're actually dragging them down, because negative energy is a much heavier, denser energy than positive energy.
Yeah.
We all know that if, you can do 20 wonderful things for your partner and do one messed up thing and it wipes out all the good stuff you've ever done. So,
happens all the time in marriage.
That's right. So I said, you know what, this can't be my legacy. I can't be a person who had promise, who had, the ability to do something, and then I end on another tragic story like so many other people in their life. And so I unscrewed a broom pole out of a broom. I held it over my head like a samurai warrior in my backyard in California. I cut a line in the sand, and I said, once I step over this line, I'm done. I'm done with it all. And it's really a place you have to get to in life, that decision where you go, I'm done. I'm done being fat. I'm done being poor. I'm done being lonely. I'm done being depressed, whatever that is. I stepped over that line. I gave up cocaine. I gave up cigarettes. I gave up alcohol abuse. I gave all my guns away, not to just people wandering down the street.
Well, that's a good thing. That's always good.
No, I gave them a gun collector friends of mine. And then every moment after that was a commitment to be consistent with that decision. And my life is a byproduct of that journey. And now, when I work with people around the world, they actually, can see that I'm not a book taught guy, or I'm not a parrot that's just rehashing what I learned somewhere else. Is I can prove it works, as I've lived it myself. Yeah. And now with the thousands and actually the million of people I've been in front of around the world, that it's scientific. It's a formula. And when you put it into action, you're guaranteed the results.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a phenomenal story, and it's life altering. Like you say, it's commitment. Anything worth living for takes commitment, it takes dedication, and it takes a lot of change in your habits, your daily habits, not just with your family, but with you personally, with business and what have you. And so you say that many people probably judged you, I would say, after you released the book, and talked a fair bit about you and had their judgments. How does one be less judgmental, and how do you react to those people's judgments?
Okay, well, Lisa, those are kind of two different subjects, so I'll separate. One of them is you have to be free of the good opinion of other people. I mean, if you're going to go for your grand goals in life, you're going to get judged, and you're going to get picked on, and people are going to try to take you off your path. That's only because you're very confrontational, because you're proving to people that you can create another life, and they'd rather sit in their hole, and not do anything. But so as an example, I have a private client right now that started with me he came to our retreat in November, very aggressive, serious Tourette syndrome. I mean, twitches with his head and had it for close to 20 years. With working with him, within a matter of a week, gone, no Tourette syndrome. He's like this burst of energy now. He just bought a brand new car. He's got a promotion at work. He's got a raise. I mean, it's like a game changer for him, because it's a circumferential shift, so you get this whole life expansion. Well, now there's family members and even friends who are not liking him because, he's not the guy who's down in the dumps anymore. Yeah. So he's confrontational. So that happens. So you're going to have to be free of that. And the best thing you can do for those people is make the best out of yourself.
Yeah.
Right. It's just, if there's a chance to help them, that's it.
Well, you have to live your life for you, right? Not for everybody else and everybody else's opinions.
Yes. And, I was honored to meet a gentleman when I was 15 years old named Ricky Nelson, who sang Hello, Mary Lou. Yeah. And one of his other songs was Garden Party. And it's, you can't please everybody because you got to please yourself.
Yep, absolutely.
So then to get rid of judgment, the easiest thing to do is remember there's only two responses that come out of a human being. One of is a loving response, and the other one's a cry for help. So when people, if you're filled with joy, you'll spread joy. If you're filled with pain, well, there's a tendency to spread pain. So if people are spreading pain around, you got to kind of have some compassion for them and just understand where they are. It doesn't mean you have to stand there and take it or be abused, but
Yeah.
you don't also have to get upset by it, because Buddha said you don't get beat up for your anger, you get beat up by your anger. You're the one feeling it. It's the disease of your mind that creates the disease of your body. So just let it go. Just release it and have some compassion for them, and just think it's not really about me they're talking about. It's really a mirror they're holding up to themselves.
Oh. Well, you talk about your Find Your Fire, your retreat, and I'm just going to play a quick video for our viewers so they can understand and have an understanding of what the Find Your Fire really is about. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. And of course, Erin, we're going to talk as well about your journey and what led the two of you together today. So I'm just going to play this video. And this is just a 23-second clip about walking on fire. For those viewers who are just coming in. And then we're going to do the last retreat that you had just recently was in where?
Stradbroke Island in off the coast of Australia.
Okay, very good. So we're going to play that video as well. So it's 4 minutes, I believe. So we're going to play the entire video and then we're going to come back on the air. So just one moment.
It's just a metaphor for what you think is impossible, isn't it? Here you have 600 degrees. It's just a metaphor for what you think is impossible, isn't it? Here you have 600 degrees searing hot coals in front of you. Your brain saying that's impossible. I'm going to get hurt, damaged. You make it across. There's no pain, no injury. You look behind you and you say, wow, if I can do that I thought was impossible, what else have I been telling myself is impossible that's been holding me back from achieving all my grand dream goals?
So there's a quick clip about walking on fire, and now we're going to do the Find Your Fire.
So then he tells me, I'm taking a public speaking course now. I go, great, you're going to be speaking at the retreat. He's like, what? Quality of your life is determined by the quality of your communication, and the quality of your communication is determined by the quality of questions that you ask.
So we were just talking in the background about the steam, and you were going to say something, correct?
Well, we have people write down things they want to get rid of, limiting beliefs and behaviors and habits that you want to get rid of. Those are written down, and that gets thrown in the fire. That's actually what you walk on. And then the steam is metaphoric, as that I said, when we hit the coals with the hose and the steam goes up, that's all that garbage that you're letting go of. So celebrate. And so it's very metaphoric, but the brain actually records it that way. And so the firewalk becomes powerfully transformational. My mom, who was an alcoholic for 50 something years, I never had a childhood memory of my mom ever being sober.
Yeah.
Came to a seminar, did the firewalk with me, and walked away from alcohol that day. And for the next 18 years of her life was clean and sober until she passed away.
Wow. Phenomenal. I mean, you're changing. Those are massively huge life-changing experiences. And Erin, you had one yourself that led you down the path to yoga and retreat and meditation. I want to talk a little bit about that as well, and that was the foundation of what's made you successful today. Tell us your story.
Sure. Well, practicing yoga, it's been part of my life for more than 20 years now. Since I was 5 years old. No, just kidding. But it's always been there through all of my changes in life. I traveled overseas after high school and discovered that I wanted to be a marine scientist. I fell in love with the underwater world, so spent years in Miami studying, and came back to Australia and worked for government in environmental planning, and in between all of that, hospitality and bartended, and did a lot of things. And I, in my travels overseas, had met a man that I fell in love with and brought him back to Australia with me. He was from Argentina. Oh, wow. And we got married, ended up having 2 beautiful children. We're living here on the Sunshine Coast in Australia, and our youngest is just 4 months old at this stage, and our eldest is 3 years old. And it's a beautiful day like any other, and we're walking through the local shopping mall, and he literally fell to the ground beside me very unexpectedly. We're walking and talking just like any other, moment that you're going through in life, and then the next moment he's on the ground and unconscious. And, we had first aiders straight on the scene. It took 8.5 minutes for the ambulance to get there and the paramedics to work on him, and took him back to the hospital. And it was an hour later that they pronounced him dead. And it was a really shocking and very unexpected moment. And, when something like that happens and someone dies so suddenly like that, you can come up with an assumption that it's a heart attack or something like that for it to be so sudden. Yet, despite autopsies and genetic testing that followed for many months and years, the cause of death was never determined, and everything medically known was ruled out.
Yeah.
No heart attack, no tumor, no cancer, nothing like that. So, coming to terms with his death was one thing, and then not having a reason for it was
another.
And I very quickly realized that I could have really gotten stuck in searching for a reason, and searching to find something as to why this had happened, and all those questions that kind of take you out of the present moment of life and keep you stuck in the past, replaying an event that happened and getting stuck by that event in trauma. Or, you get projected forward mentally with fear. What if this happened to my children? I mean, I'm thinking, genetics, and is it something that could happen to my daughters? Could they just drop dead like that? And then someone else that I love? What if I fall in love again and that happens to my next partner? I mean, this is possible now, I've realized. So my practice of yoga and mindfulness and meditation, which is really just about present moment awareness, and even with yoga, the way that we move our body, the whole intent is really just to settle the fluctuations of the mind at the end of the day, and to be able to to meditate and live an everyday mindful life. So my practice, really I was able to put into practice during this event. And really the event is a bigger scale and traumatic as it absolutely felt and still feels sometimes. It's just reflective of any kind of change in life that anyone can experience. Even you have a little car accident or back into someone, and it can be that same kind of shock that, that event in life can get set in. And like Kurek says, sometimes life doesn't turn out the way that it should. It turns out the way that it does, and it's what you do with it that counts, right? And to have an understanding that everything that happens in life is seeking to support you to reach your highest potential is a perspective that I found after that event. Really, after experiencing the healing benefits of yoga, mindfulness and meditation, at the time I was on maternity leave from my job as an environmental planner. And I went back to that job, yet knew I had a deeper calling to, pass on the gifts of what had really helped to heal me during that event in my life. So I studied to become a yoga teacher, and here I am.
Well, and it would have been so very vital to your children as well, because not only did you have to heal your heart, you also had to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. And, kids definitely keep you moving forward, particularly a 4-month-old with the milestones that happen, new teeth and eating this food and whatever. And I'm, breastfeeding at the time. And so they definitely keep you moving forward. But, that's what I did. And I realized later on that really was a decision point, a choice for me, though. Not everyone moves forward from something like that. So it's a choice that we all have, though. It's not just that, that was just what I naturally do, or it really was a mental choice, and it's a perspective. And so that's a big part of, what we teach on the Find Your Fire retreats and, in our various courses and events is perspective.
Yeah. Well, and you have to change your mindset, right? You have to wrap your head around what is it going to look like going forward, and do I really want to be back there, or do I want to move forward with a positivity that I can, live my life with?
Yeah, and really, a great saying of Kurek's is examine your thoughts. And I love this. This is really the basis of all my teachings, because in mindfulness, we come to observe our thoughts instead of being hijacked by them and thinking that in life we're being led by our thoughts. And of course, when stuff happens in life, we naturally have a negative bias, like it's just in our, biological default system to go down the negative bias. And it's only with awareness of how we think and feel that we can create a new default mode and choose a different override. And again, perspective comes in, and I keep quoting Kurek. I just
we should get
inspire
married.
Each other.
We should get married.
But that question.
Well, I love the way that you open the book, because I think this is a very fitting quote. Your mind is like a parachute. It works much better when it's open. And that's with life and with business. We have a lot of viewers here today that are, trying to apply what you're teaching and what you're telling us to their business mindset, not just their life mindset. And so how what would you suggest would be a way for them to apply a positivity to their business mindset moving forward?
Well, it really is understanding what an entrepreneur is, and why are you an entrepreneur? And when I ask that question, most people say is, oh, well, I want to build a big business and make the money. That
takes work, though. Not everybody wants to do the work.
Yeah, well, but once you get what it really is, and, yes, the business is to make money. So that's not a dirty word. No. But to be an entrepreneur, I'm an entrepreneur, and we're entrepreneurs to create the lifestyle. And so once you have the lifestyle and you say, this is the lifestyle I want, but have it now. Don't wait for it. See, the universe has a funny sense of humor. If you go, once I retire, or once I make the money, well, the funny thing is you can die before you have the money and before you get to retirement. Is start living it now, because your brain makes a neural connection between feeling great with the life you're living now and the success you're producing. And so it's going to automatically help you produce bigger and bigger successes.
And I would think too, as well, not only will it help you make bigger and bigger successes, but it will also help you lead the people, your followers that are part of your business and your network and are willing to share in your journey and in your vision.
Yes, well, people don't buy your products, your
No.
services, or your ideas. They buy the way they feel about your product, service, or idea. So they're really buying you. And when you're feeling that effervescent excellence, you know, people walk in your door and they go, I don't even know what the heck you're selling. I just want that. They want that feeling. And so with Erin and I, you know, our priority is our relationship, certainly time with our kids. We live on a beautiful farm, you know, so we have these amazing views. We live on the Sunshine Coast, is where most people want a vacation. That's our home. So, but a lot of people who live here miss it. You know, they're so busy, whatever, chasing something. They don't even appreciate that they live where most people want a vacation. So when you're living that though, and we keep growing our business and we keep succeeding, but not at the expense of what we value the most. So one of the most powerful questions that I've probably ever come up with is how do you succeed? You know, how can I produce the success I want while living within the context of my values? It's a more specific question, which gives you more specific strategy as answers. And all you gotta do is take the action in those strategies and you'll produce that result.
Yeah, absolutely. And so would you say that the three P's of power would be influenced by that? And what are they?
Well, the three P's of power that reference comes from is that in life, you're either going to be empowering, which means adding power to, or disempowering, which means taking power away. There is no neutral. So when people go, oh, I'm just kind of getting by, well, that's actually a neutral, because which is a negative, because if you had a brand new car battery and you just left it on the shelf somewhere, well, it's going to go flat, because it takes energy to maintain energy, or takes power to maintain power. And so, you know, to be empowering, to add power to, well, those three P's of power, the first one is called perception. And as Erin was sharing with you, is that it's all perception. You can say how bad your life is, or you can ask what's great about this. My father dying, he got cancer. You know, he was a great man. I'm talking to him every day. He sounds great. I'm on my way to home to see him. And the day before I'm going to get on the plane, I get a call. He's passing away now. And I'm like, no, I just talked to him. And they said, sir, he took a turn for the worse. They said, let me talk to him. I said, Dad, I love you. I will always make you proud. Surrender, quit struggling, don't suffer, go to peace. My dad literally smiled, closed his eyes, and passed away. They got on the phone and said, your dad knew it was you. He died, you know. I said, what's great about this? Well, my dad died when I was 44, not 4 months or 3 years, or, you know. I had a great relationship. So, you know, we asked that, it changes it, your perception.
Yeah, absolutely. I always tell my children there's a silver lining in everything, and it's not always bad.
No, the helicopter crash, it changed my life. Mike died in my arms, not in a stranger's arms. By the way, I saved 2 people's lives that day. I lived, you know, so when you look for what's great in it, you'll find it. But when you get caught in your drama, you don't look for the positives, because you're so caught up in the story of the drama. So ask what's great about this. Or another powerful question is how would love respond? Which is, love would want you to have everything. Love would want you to be happy. And so, you know, look at it from that point of view.
Yeah.
The second P is called perturbation. It's about going through your challenges to get to the other side, to grow, to be a bigger, better person than who you are right now. So that's really why we get challenged, because it forces you into growth. And so, you know, all of a sudden you can change your perception about your challenges, because you go, wait a minute, the creator would never give me a challenge I couldn't handle, and the rewards are always in proportions to the test. So bring it on. Like, you're going to challenge me. What's going to be on the other side of this?
Yeah.
Then the last one is called procession, which means the ripple effect. And so every action creates an equal and opposite reaction. And so, you know, from taking those positive actions, you'll notice that you get this positive ripple that comes off of it.
Yeah.
If you take negative actions, you're going to get a negative ripple. Another word for that would be feedback. You're getting feedback. Well, now, if you keep taking that positive action, and you're going through the challenges, but you got a positive perception about it, the growth outdoes even the goal itself. I mean, it's way bigger. Like, you know, where my life is today and my relationship with my beautiful wife and my kids is, you know, all comes from that helicopter wreck and what I did with that and the ripple that comes off of that. So it's never about the goal. It's always about the growth. And the growth, even if you get the goal, the growth will dwarf any goal you think you've achieved. So the goal gives you that direction to create the growth. And if you're going to go for goals, I mean, really grand dream goals, you're going to get challenged.
Yep.
It's going to get you ready to be ready for that goal, so it doesn't crush you, so that, you know, you're a different person. Because in order for things to change, we have to change. The world's not going to change. We have to be the one who takes responsibility to change.
Absolutely. We can't stay complacent, and we definitely have to challenge ourselves, or we don't ever grow, correct?
Yes, or the universe, if you don't challenge yourself, the universe will. So
you might not be prepared.
So it's better to do it yourself.
Absolutely. So we're getting close to the time here, and I know that in the story, rejection was a big thing that happened, especially from Mike's mom. She initially had rejected you and in what had happened. And how do people overcome rejection? How do you get to that next step?
Well, Napoleon Bonaparte said, "I only see my outcomes and my obstacles will give way." Is you have to stop paying attention to what's in front of you, and you got to think about what you really want, who you want to be, because all great achievers are visionaries. So, you know, in the 80s, I was homeless a lot of times, living in my car in Los Angeles, struggling, starving actor stuff. And I created a friendship with a guy named Sylvester Stallone. And Sly would have me up to the house for Christmas and parties. And people would say, "Why do you got Kurek here? I mean, he's a loser. The guy's broke all the time, living in his car." And I go, "I'm standing right here. I can hear you." And they're like, "I don't care. You're a loser." And Sly would say, "You know, you got no idea who this kid is, because in his head, you can't tell him anything besides he's a success. To him, he thinks he's rich. He thinks he's a millionaire. And it's just a matter of time that his results will catch up with his mindset."
Yeah.
And he goes, "It reminds me of somebody."
Look what happened.
It was me. That's how I got here.
Well, and look what happened. I mean, had Sly, I mean, I know a little bit of his backstory. Obviously, he's not a personal friend, but I do know, had he, you know, given in and let somebody else take the role of Rocky, he would never be to where he is today in the success in the movie industry.
Yeah. And so I just was at his house watching the Super Bowl with him. And, you know, we've known each other now like over 30 years, I think. And I said, I thanked him for everything he did for me. He said, "Kurek, you were destined to be great anyways." He goes, "I was just one of those people that you somehow networked with, but you would have found that anyways, because you were so focused on where you were going to go that there was nothing going to stop you. And that's what was attractive to you, even in those days." And he goes, "God bless you. I'm so proud of you, you know, and your book. I love your book and everything you've done. And here you are." Yeah. Anybody can do it. You just got to be that person who, you know, again, you got to let go of the naysayers and what people think about you, and just focus on where you want to go, and then find people that are going to support you. And so, unfortunately, sometimes those are your friends and family that you have to let go of. It's not tossing them aside. It's just you got to focus on where you want to go, and you got to let go of anything that's not going to support your happiness. So one of my mantras, or our mantras, is that whatever does not support our happiness, we release.
Yeah, let it go. Very good. Well, I think that's a great way to end the show. I'm just going to show everybody, you can find Kurek and Erin at Find Your Fire. Just going to put this image on there at KurekAshley.com. They have an upcoming retreat next month, correct?
In May.
In May.
And Erin also has some mindfulness yoga retreats as well that she hosts. And hopefully we were talking about possibly bringing Find Your Fire to Canada. So for you Canadians out there who are watching, this might be a good opportunity for you to reach out and share some interest. Fantastic. Well, thank you both of you very much for joining us today, and look forward to the upcoming retreats and more from you in the upcoming year.
Thank you, Lisa. If there's anything we can do to support you, I mean, awesome person, and you've been really
Thank you.
fantastic in this whole process. And please come to Australia and visit us. And also,
Yes, I would love to do that.
yeah, and on CurekAshley.com, if you haven't done it yet, we have a Get Out of Your Bad Mood course. It's free, but it's about how you manage, how you think and feel, because that really is the key distinction that Erin was talking about. It's a 10-day online course, and do it. I'd love to see your comments on it, because you know.
Get out of bed? Is that what you called it?
No, get out of your bad mood.
Oh, out of your bad mood. I thought you said get out of your bed.
Well,
if you were in a bad mood, you might be in bed.
Go hand in hand, yeah.
Yeah,
And it
that's
wasn't
what-
targeted at you, Lisa?
No, it wasn't targeted at you. It's just that when you read the comments on it, it's so heartfelt and game-changing for people, because even the first video changes people's lives. But it's one of those things. I just love to have your feedback on it.
Sure, I would love to do that. I'm just going to close the show off, and then we can stay afterwards and chat, okay?
Great.